In order to stay cool this weekend, you may head to the movie theaters. There's a lot to see as Despicable Me 4 hits theaters. Movie reviewer and YouTuber Sean Chandler from Sean Chandler Talks About joins us this morning to break it all down. And Sean, this weekend has 2 movie sequels. Both are the 4th in the franchise. I feel like that's all we're getting this summer. We had Bad Boys 4, Kingdom of Planet of the Apes. They just keep going. By this point in time in the franchise, for Despicable Me 4, have we run out of good story ideas here? Now, you've seen it. Is this just a money grab?
Unfortunately, it does feel like this franchise is just running out of steam. Now, it's still funny. The characters are still charming. They know how to set up a joke, and there's enough outrageous situations. If you go take your family to go see this movie this weekend, it'll put a smile on your face. But it doesn't have anything else to offer beyond that. This franchise started out about being about a supervillain who's like basically adopts some kids to exploit them. And in this movie, he's just a suburban dad, like trying to fit into the neighborhood, faking like he can play tennis. His wife gets a job at a salon. It just feels like it's lost the plot. And the movie basically doesn't have a plot. It has a series of subplots just stacked on top of each other. So every scene feels like it's this own standalone thing, like it's a movie designed for the TikTok generation and just switching between plotline, joke so fast. And none of it really adds up to much. It's fun. It is funny. It's going to do great this weekend, but it is not great.
So here's a question on this. Parents of late have been upset with like Disney because they've been more agenda-driven on some content. Now, to be fair, Inside Out 2 is doing phenomenal business. But does Despicable Me 4 move in that direction at all?
No, not at all. This is from Illumination, and for better or for worse, they just want to make kids smile. And so it's all jokes. It's musical numbers. There's not trying to like say anything, explore any deeper ideas, communicate any message. Like there's a sequence where a baby pees on a control panel. That's the movie that you're in for. There's nothing much more than that. You can, if you go see it, I don't think it's a great movie, but you can expect a safe time with your kids just having fun.
That's what parents want to hear. All right, let's move on now. Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I want to call it Beverly Hills Cop 4, but Axel F.
Yes.
It's been 30 years since the last Beverly Hills Cop movie, the third one. Now, I'm excited for this one, but my concern is that it's on Netflix, and Netflix can be, well, they don't put out great projects. It's kind of like the B list of the films. Is that the case here?
So if you go into this movie expecting a Netflix movie, you're going to be very pleasantly surprised because it's much better than your average Netflix film. Now, if you go in expecting the original Beverly Hills Cop, this buddy cop, Eddie Murphy classic, you'll be disappointed. But if you go in just wanting a good time, it's a good Beverly Hills Cop experience. It plays it safe. It sticks to the formula, but it knows the formula. Eddie Murphy is having a bunch of fun. It's great to see the original trio on screen again. Joseph Gordon-Levitt shows in it. He's a nice addition into the mix. There's some things that aren't great. There's a subplot about Axel's daughter, and she's a little bit too one-note of a character, so she drags it down a little bit. They repeat a bunch of the music cues from the original film, which at a certain point in time, you're like, really? We're doing this again? We're playing The Heat Is On once again? But it's a fun time. As someone that also has been watching the Beverly Hills Cop films for over 30 years, I got what I wanted out of this movie. It's much better than your average Netflix original film. But like, this isn't a classic, but it's good. It's a good experience.
Let me bring this up. This was Eddie Murphy on CBS Mornings just yesterday. Listen to this.
Okay.
I'm in my 60s now. When I did the first one, I'm 21 years old. So that's, you can imagine the differences, you know. And when I first did Beverly Hills Cop, I got no kids. I'm just legally, can drink legally. And now I'm 10 kids and I'm a grandpa.
So he's saying he's basically the older guy playing in this nostalgia play for this film. But here's what I find interesting. Beverly Hills Cop was the #1 movie in 1984. And check this out. These other movies also came out in 1984. Ghostbusters, Karate Kid, Dune. The Fall Guy was a TV series. So you got all these films. Looks like we don't have the list there for you, but you heard them. of those films, they're all remakes from 1984.
Yeah.
And now they're out now in 2024. Is there a movie for you from 1984 that you think should have had a remake by now or a sequel?
So I'm going to go with one that has had many sequels, but it needs the remake treatment. And I'm actually going to go with the original Terminator, where you think if they hadn't done the last 10 years of sequels that kind of burned people out and did a 40th anniversary remake that went back to the original film, which is to say lower budget. It's basically a slasher with robots and machine guns. It's dark. It's set entirely at nighttime, but you do it set in 2024 where, you know, we all have Chat GTP on our phones and we're in such a different cultural place. You just do it now. I think that could be very cool.
I love it. Sean Chandler Talks About. You can find him on YouTube. We'll bring him back on our Fox 58 news segment. Sean, thanks for coming on.